All right, guys, you got this. Let's go. Gun right, triple E. Close, let's go. On one, on one.
Ready?
Ready.
What's up, guys? It's Pick'em with HuddleGG. Welcome back to another episode of Ask Huddle. If you guys are new here, this is something that we do each week where we answer your guys' questions. So if you have a question you'd like answered in a future video, wherever you're watching this, just leave that in the comment section below. And if you don't see that in a future video, you can always ask us in our Discord by going to HuddleGG/Discord. It's completely free to join, and we answer a lot of your questions in there as well. With that being said, let's dive right into this week's episode. And our first question comes from Fred Smith, and they ask, what's a good defense for run D against under center formation? So there are going to be times where you face players who are going to be in single back I form as their main offense, and if you play something like dime or dollar on defense, it can be difficult to shut them down in the run game, especially if your opponent knows what they're doing running the football. Now, there are going to be two formations I recommend going to when it comes to slowing down the run in heavier sets. The first one's going to be 3-4 odd, but the one that I think is the best in the game is going to be 4-3 even 6-1. Now, the reason why I believe this to be the best is I am somebody who is very good at running the football here in Madden, and the formation that gives me the most fits when it comes to running the football is going to be 4-3 even 6-1, and one of the best plays you can pick in general for all run D is going to be cover 4 quarters here in this formation, and the reason is because of our run fits. So if we come out in this play here and we look at the run fits, you're going to see that we have 9 people playing the run aggressively, right? So the run fits, again, just quickly, is going to tell us who's going to play the run first in a play. And again, anybody that has an angle coming off of them right now is in our run fit, okay? So you see all front 7 with our 4 D linemen and our 3 linebackers, and then our 2 safeties. The only 2 people who will not play the run aggressively in this play call are going to be the 2 outside corners. But for reference, if we would go to something like cover 3 buzz, you're going to see that the deep safety is no longer in the run fit. So now we only have 8 people. So again, just because of numbers, cover 4 quarters is a nice run defense to use because we're getting an extra player in the run fits versus what we normally get in other defenses. Now, when it comes to defending the run, you just want to be disciplined and fill where you're supposed to fill. And if you do that consistently, it's going to be hard for your opponent to find open gaps. Okay, so don't try to shoot every run. Don't try to run into the backfield and hit him for 4-yard loss. Try to meet him at the line. Try to fill your gap. And again, if you do that, you're going to give him very few holes to get through. And they're going to have to essentially be a extremely good runner or just get lucky and bounce off something for any big gain, right? You're going to limit them very well if you play run defense this way. So again, just be very smart at where you need to be. Don't try to over pursue. Don't try to be the hero with your user, right? Sometimes people try to do a little bit too much with their user when it comes to defending the run. But if you do these things, something like this, right? We're just going to fill right here, make sure they can't run, and there's not going to be anywhere for them to go to get some big gains. And you're going to see a lot of people who run the football will quit very early if they're getting 2 yards a carry. Again, just make sure that you do have a secondary package here to go to if your main defense is something like dime or dollar. Again, 3-4 odd and 4-3 even 6-1 are 2 really good formations to go to. And cover 4 quarters or any form of cover 4 is going to be a nice base D because it now gets our safeties into the run fits. Our next question today comes from Aaron McGuire, and they ask, what is the best running style for defensive backs and which players have this? Now, this is a great question and one that not a lot of people even realize, but there are different running styles here in Madden. You're going to have short stride, you're going to have default, and you're going to have long stride. Now, in general, when it comes to what I like on my defensive backs, short stride is going to be the answer to that because they're a little bit quicker to make their cuts and break on the ball. If you think about it, if somebody has long stride, it takes longer for them to get to that next step. So if somebody, meaning the receivers, cut to the outside and our DB who has long stride is in between strides, it's going to be a little bit more delayed for him to break on that ball. Whereas short stride, obviously there's shorter time in between each of his steps. So he's just going to cut on that ball a little bit quicker. And where to find it, that's another great question. Over at HuddleGG is going to be the best place for you. And I have my camera off here for this specific question just so I can show you and so you can see on the screen where we're looking. So when you go to HuddleGG, you want to go to players at the top and down here on the right, you want to go to position first. Now, if you just want to look at cornerback, you can just click cornerback. If you want to do cornerback and your safeties, obviously you can click all 3 of these. Now, from there, you want to go to custom filters, and then you want to go to add filter, and you want to go down here to about the middle of the page, and you're going to see running stride. Okay, now running stride is going to give you the option between default, short, and long. So let's just click on short here, and then we go to apply filters, and it's going to pop up all the corners in the game who have short stride. Okay, and again, this is also free safety and strong safety because of the way that I selected it here. So this is going to be corners, free safety, and strong safeties that have the short stride. You can do the same thing for long stride here, and you're going to see obviously it's going to pop up the different players there that have long stride. Now, I do want to reference here, you do have something called running style as well. And if we click on running style, you're going to see that we have things like default stride, high and tight, default stride, loose, short stride, default, short stride, high and tight. The second part of this word has nothing to do with the actual running style. It's just how they're carrying the football. Okay, so when it comes to DBs, high and tight, loose, bread loaf, awkward, none of those are going to change anything. Default is going to be the only thing that matters for that. Same thing with short stride. Short stride default and short stride high and tight, they're not going to play any differently when it comes to the actual coverage. It's just going to look a little bit differently if they get an interception and they're carrying the football. Again, the really important thing that you want to focus on when it comes to the running style is that first part of the word. And again, you can just go to running stride, something that they added to HuddleGG this year, which was a great add, where you're just going to have to pick between the three here. Again, default, short, and long. Like I said, I would prefer short running stride when it comes to our defensive backs. Our next question today comes from Hot Boy, and they ask, how do you stop the off tackle from the gun bunch tight end formation? Now, this is another great question, and this is a really effective run this year, and it can be very frustrating to deal with if you don't know how to defend it. What I like to do is I like to go to a cover 3 cloud look if I believe this play is coming, or we'll still have good coverage on the back end just in case they are throwing the ball. Now, if you don't know how to find a cover 3 cloud look in your playbook, you can go to concept, go to cover 3, and cycle through here. Here in this playbook, we have one in nickel 3-3 odd and also in nickel 2-4. I'm just going to pick the one in nickel 2-4, but you do want to make sure that you flip the play call to ensure that the cloud flat is to the side of the 3 receivers. Okay, so here we're going to flip the play. So again, that cloud flat's to the left. Again, most people are going to be running the bunch to the left side of the field, so you will want that cloud flat to the left. And the reason why we want that cloud flat to the left is because he's going to be in the run fit. So having him start out to the left is going to be very helpful for us. Now, from there, what we want to do is, first of all, having a no outsiders is going to help, right? So if you could have a no outsiders in this position, that would definitely help you out a ton when it comes to defending this particular play, because again, this is considered an outside run. So inside stuff isn't going to do anything for you, but no outsiders to the side they're running is going to definitely be a huge help. And you could even put it on 2 players here if you had it, where you would be able to get no outsiders on both of these 2 guys here, which again would be very beneficial. But in general, what I like to do is I like to shift my line to the left. I know they're running it to the left, right? They're not running this play to the right. The off tackle is going to go towards that bunch side, and that's the most popular and almost the only run you're going to see out of this. Occasionally you'll see others, but the vast majority of the time you're going to see off tackle. Now from there, I like to user this linebacker here in the middle, and I just like to stay on the back shoulder of the user to make sure he doesn't cut back, right? So when it comes to the running back, just stay on his back shoulder, which would be the right of screen shoulder here. Just make sure he doesn't cut it back up the middle, and you're going to be good there. And just force him to running into the left side of your defense. So when they say hike here, what you're going to see is we're just going to stay right here with him. Make sure he can't cut back. And you're going to see there's a ton of people over there to defend. Now, obviously, with 2 controllers, I can't run the ball and play defense here. But you see how we stay right here on the back shoulder with the user, right? So we're making sure that there's no big cutback lane for him to go through. Our defensive end here does a great job at forcing this almost back to the inside. He's not our force defender, the outside corner is, but this guy, because we shifted our line to the left, does a good job of getting outside leverage on this tackle. And then again, you can see that this defensive end, who is a defensive tackle as well, is getting nice leverage on his guy. So we're forcing the ball back up the middle, which is not what people want to do when they're running this play, right? They want to run this ball to the outside and allow these 3 blockers to get in the way and obviously get them some big gains. But you can see here, even if they would get outside, we have the leverage here as well with the safety beating his guy. Corner is playing the run more aggressively because of the play call that we chose. And it's just going to be tough for them to consistently get yardage here against this. So again, one more time, we're just going to shift our line to the left, cover 3 cloud with the cloud flat to the bunch side. If you really think this is coming and you want to be a little bit more aggressive to defending this, you can always use this backside safety to help out. And if they do end up passing the ball, I would just switch stick off of him. But the second that you see this run, you can come down here as well. And again, you can see there's not really anywhere for them to run. Obviously, the computer's just running to the sideline there. But if we look at the replay here, there's not really an opening, right? If they cut up the field right now, that linebacker is going to get him. If they continue outside, obviously we have the people there. So there's no opening here for them to run the football to. And again, that's our goal when it comes to stopping the run. It's just making sure that we're covering all of those gaps that they're trying to run through and just being a disciplined defensive player. And if you do that, and again, understanding the run fit, understanding having your players in the right position, you're going to slow this down and get people out of it. And again, that's our goal when it comes to defending that run. Just limit those gains, minimize those gains, and people will get very impatient and they will get out of it and get into a different style of offense. Our last question today comes from Nate Diz, and they asked, does Secure Protector shut down Unstoppable Force? And the quick answer is kind of, but not really. And I'll show you what I mean here. So if you look at the defense, we have the right of screen defensive tackle-ish. He's a defensive end, but the guy that's glowing, that's going to be our Unstoppable Force here. And he is going to be going against the right guard who has Secure Protector, and he's going to be one-on-one against him. Now, when it comes to shutting down Unstoppable Force, the only true way to shut it down every single time is to double team the Unstoppable Force. If you double team him, it does not matter what abilities you have on your offensive line, they will shut down that player. Now, when it comes to one-on-one blocks, because I know you can't always double team a player depending on the defensive front or the blitz that your opponent is sending, if we have to one-on-one block him, Secure Protector is going to be our best bet. And what Secure Protector does a decent job at is shutting down the super win initially. Okay, so he will a lot of times shut down the super or the immediate win, but then he's going to get beat shortly after that on that secondary pass rush move. Okay, so if we go to say hike here, you're going to see that he shuts down the first one, but then he gets clubbed to the side and thrown to the ground essentially. Okay, so that's what you're going to see a lot of times happen. So if we look at the replay again, if we pay attention to the right guard here, number 75, he's going to shut down the immediate win, right? So he stops that first pass rush move, that first super win animation that people will get with Unstoppable Force. But once he shut that down on the secondary pass rush move, that guy's going to club him to the side. He's going to perform a pass rush move, and he's going to beat him fairly quickly at that point. So when it comes to understanding shutting down Unstoppable Forces or going against Unstoppable Forces, just know you're not going to have all day in the pocket. Okay, even if you do pick it up initially, you're gonna want to get rid of the ball fairly quickly just to make sure that they don't get that secondary pass rush move off and get to your quarterback. Okay, so if we run a couple of reps here, well, we'll see what it'll look like. There you can see, again, he stopped the first one, but then he got an immediate second bull rush, and it still came in on our quarterback there. So like I said, kind of, but not really. So he shuts down that first one, right? So this first one here, he doesn't fall down, right? A lot of times, if this would be a player without Secure Protector, that guy would get ran over on that move right there. But you're going to see he gets that secondary push where he's now going to beat that player. And obviously, they're going to get to the backfield very quickly. And this may seem like your Secure Protector is not doing anything, but he is still helping. It's just not as much as we would like him to, right? So again, if we're here, you can see he shuts down the first one, gets beat by that secondary move. So it's very important to understand that even if you are facing a player who has these Unstoppable Forces and you have Secure Protector, you still want to get rid of that ball fairly quickly. So if we would say hike, we would see that, we would step up, we would want to get rid of the ball. So he's not getting the super win, so we're still able to get rid of the pass, still get it into our playmaker's hands. And if we look at the replay again, you can see that right guard shuts down the initial move, right? That move right there is the initial move, as you can see that interaction. He shuts that down, but then that secondary move, he's pretty much never going to stop. Okay, now I do want to show you as well, if we would go to double team him, just how consistent that'll be if we can get the double team here. So let me slide to the right, double team that player. If we do get the double team on him, he's not going to win. Okay, so you can see there, completely shuts down an Unstoppable Force. If we double team him, obviously you leave more players one-on-one then, or different players one-on-one. But if we're trying to stop the Unstoppable Force there to the right, you can see obviously we want to take that out of the way. And you can see here, this is another great showing of what Secure Protector will do. This is against Colossus. Colossus and Unstoppable Force are essentially the same thing if it's a one-on-one block. But you can see here, Secure Protector shuts it down initially, and then the guy's going to get that club and win there. So you do want to put Secure Protectors on the field. I don't want to say that you don't want to have them on the field. Secure Protectors or Pass Protectors are going to be your best bet to defend these style abilities on the defensive side of the ball. Again, try to double team the most immediate threat to you that you can, and then try to step up into the pocket to that area of the field. But yes, secure protector will help a little bit, but as you can see, it's not going to be something that gives us all day in the pocket to throw the ball. And if you guys are looking to get even better at Madden, make sure to join our free Discord by going to huddle.gg/discord. Have a great day.